This is Dan Bolin, and I'm the host of the program, the podcast, The Courage to Be Courageous, where people come from all over the world to share their stories, how they were able to overcome fear with courage. And I want to welcome all of my podcast listeners. Thank you for your support. And we're going to have, I think, a very interesting guest today. And I want to introduce him to you. His name is Matt Christofaro. Did I say that right? Christofaro?
Christofaro, yep.
Christofaro, okay. And let me give you a little bit of history of Pat's educational background. He has a Bachelor's of Arts in Business Administration from the University of Rhode Island in 2010. And he also has a Master's of Business Administration in Global Business Leadership and Marketing from Johnson and Wales University in 2012. And also, he's a licensed Thrive program coach. Now, you're probably wondering as you're looking at this, what is Thrive? What is this that we're talking about, Thrive? Well, I'm going to have Matt really introduce this to you, tell you what it's about, and particularly how it really appeals to all people in our community. So, Matt, take it away. Tell us a bit about Thrive, how it got started, and how you became a part of it.
Thank you, Dan. So Thrive is an amazing program that teaches you a skill set to be able to manage your thinking in such a way that allows you to thrive, really. If you think back when you were young, you were never taught how to manage your thinking and your emotions and things like that, the same way that you were taught how to ride a bike and tie your shoes. And so later in life, that's what ends up getting people into trouble with mental health issues. And so what the Thrive program does is it's based on 30 years of clinical experience and research. And what the founder of this program found was that if somebody gets better from any kind of mental health intervention, whether it be CBT therapy or exposure therapy, whatever it is, he realized that three things happened. The person felt more control in their lives, their self-esteem raised, and their social anxiety lowered. So what he did was he boiled all of that down into an 8-week program that I now coach my clients on. And so what we're doing is teaching people how to take back control of their lives in 8 weeks. And they're able to overcome things like anxiety, depression, panic attacks, fears, phobias, really anything with a cognitive component that's holding them back in life. And so what brought me to Thrive was I had panic attacks and anxiety for 22 years. Like a lot of people, I tried everything that was out there. I tried talk therapy, medication, hypnosis, mindfulness, breathing exercise, all these things, nothing worked. I found the Thrive program. They said, yeah, we can help you in 6 to 8 weeks. I said, all right, let me see if this works. What difference can it make at this point if it doesn't work? After 3 weeks, I was like a different person. I couldn't believe it. I had my girlfriend go through it as well. She was experiencing a little bit of anxiety and low self-esteem. Same thing, about 3 weeks, she was a different person. At that point, I realized there is something to this. This program works, and I need to get it in front of as many people as possible. So
Can
I became a
I ask you a
coach.
question, Matt?
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. I'm thinking some of us may be wondering, how can you change your mental state in 6 to 8 weeks?
Yep.
Tell me a little bit more how that works.
So what ended up happening throughout all the research and experience that the founder of the program had was he realized that, again, these people are getting better for three reasons. So what we did was we created a manual, and it's not a book. It's a manual. It's not something that you just read every once in a while when when you want to fall asleep or anything like that. It's a very specific manual where you read one chapter a week, and it's going to tell you exactly how you created your problems, because the unfortunate truth is we we are creating our problems unintentionally by the way that we're thinking and our beliefs, things like that. So what the manual does is show you how that's happening, but then also gives you exercises and things to start doing so you can start to build better habits to uncreate all these problems. So what you end up doing is raising your self-esteem, but doing it in a way that where you believe in yourself. So it's coming from your internal belief that you are a worthy person, you're a good person. So an example that we'll do is we'll have you look at the things that you do throughout the day, throughout the week that you would tell your loved one, hey, good job. Oh, you did an awesome job on that. Little things. Cooked a great meal, made somebody laugh, helped an old lady cross the street, things like that. So then at the end of our time together, you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things and events where you are an amazing person. So there's no doubt in your mind that you have proof. That's one of the three things. And then we also work on building your social confidence, which is just the opposite of being anxious in social situations. So there are little challenges here and there. This is a doing thing. Thrive is a doing thing. It's not something that I can do for clients. It's something that I do with them, and it's an active process, and it's really all it is just building new habits that put them in the right direction, if that makes sense.
It does, but I want to ask you, I'm coming to you as a new client
Yep.
and I'm suffering from anxiety and stress.
Yep.
And so I'm going to try your program. I believe you have me do a survey
Yep.
to find out what my issues are. And then tell us a little bit walk me through the program if you were recommending me and what your involvement is with me as a client.
So what happens is you take a quiz, and there are no right or wrong answers. It takes about 40 minutes. And what it does is it asks very specific questions that's going to give me insight into your cognitive makeup, the things that you believe, what your thinking styles are, whether you're a perfectionist, whether you think catastrophically, whether you think in a very on or off, black or white way, things like that. And so what that's going to allow us to do is, one, have tangible evidence of this is what's going on, and it is insanely accurate. Blew my mind when I did it as a client going through the program. And more importantly, it's going to show us where we need to focus our time to get you thriving. So this is not it's not a wishy-washy, we're going to do our best to hope that you can live a little bit more comfortably with your symptoms. No, we know what's going on. We're going to attack those areas. And at the end of the 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to feel amazing. So what the person will do, the client, they'll read that chapter. They'll work on what they're supposed to be working at, little challenges throughout the week. Nothing that's going to freak them out or make them anxious or anything like that. And then all I'm going to do is just make sure that they're on the right track. And the things that they're doing are fun. They're empowering. They're having a great time. Every day that goes by, they're feeling more confident, more powerful, more excited about life. It's not, we're not talking about what their diagnosis is. We're not talking about medication. We're not talking, hey, how does that make you feel? Things like that. We're talking about things that we can do right now to get you feeling great starting right now.
So give me an example of a little bit of the internal, you have this, as you call it, a booklet, right?
It's a manual. Yep.
A manual. Okay. So give me an example of, I'm reading the manual, and give me some examples of what the dialogue is in the manual and what it says. Because and I understand what you're saying, you're going to feel great, but
Yep.
what's in the manual that you're reading and changing in your thinking that's going to make you feel great?
Yep. So some things that are in the manual that I should back up a second. We purposely do not have in the manual all kinds of we call it psychobabble. We're not using all these terms that you're not going to understand in psychological theories, things like that. The person who reading the manual wants to get better. They just want to get better. They don't care what the heck the name of the thing is or whatever. So what we're doing is we're talking about research, how to apply that research. We're not talking about opinion or anything like that. So something that somebody might read in the manual would be, here's a great example. We copy a lot of our thinking styles and our beliefs, our attitudes, things like that from our parents. It's usually the mom. So if anything, always blame mom. What ends up happening is, and it's just like accents. If you ask, where does an accent come from? You probably never thought of that, but just like an accent or the mannerisms from where we came from, I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands. I'm trying not to because I have the microphone here, but we copy those things from our parents. So if your mom sees a spider when you're young and developing, and she freaks out, runs across the room screaming, you're going to form the belief that spiders are scary. I have to avoid spiders. So things like that that you really wouldn't think of, that really make you think, okay, so maybe that's why I'm afraid of spiders or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of light bulb moments in the manual, Dan, and then also plenty of things to do, action items at the end of each chapter, because again, it's a doing thing. It's all about building new habits and changing the way that you've done things so that you can stop struggling, really.
So does the program, if everybody works it diligently, does everybody get some success out of it?
Absolutely. So that's a great question.
100%.
So I saw an ad recently. I'm not going to name the brand, but it was a talk therapy, an online talk therapy, and they were using it as an ad. They paid for this, saying that I think either 73 or 74% of their clients feel better. That blew my mind because I am not impressed by that number. But the people who go through this program, at the end of our engagement, we do not say goodbye to each other until I hear from the person, I feel amazing. I'm thriving in all areas of life and I don't need you anymore. My mental health is that strong. That's what we're striving for. And that's what happens. Every once in a while, there is somebody who may take another couple of sessions. There's a very specific reason why we say 6 to 8 weeks, and that's because that's what we found, that if you put the work in and the effort in throughout our time together, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to build your strong mental health. There are people who take longer. I was one of those people. I needed an extra session. My coach was nice enough to not charge me for it, but I needed it. And again, it's the best thing that can happen is that we get fired. The person says, I don't need you anymore. Thank you. This has been amazing. Goodbye.
Now, are you a coach with them on a weekly basis? They're reading a chapter every week, and then after each chapter, do you talk to them? Tell me about how the dynamics of that work, because they're not doing it all on their own. You are in touch with them and you're a coach to them. And what's your involvement in that, Matt?
Yep. So you're exactly right. So they'll read the chapter and it's not long. It might be 10, 20 pages, something like that. But every single day they're going to be putting work in. Somebody like me, I was putting sticky notes all over my house, literally in the bathroom, in the refrigerator, in my car. Hey, check on your thinking. Are you thinking negatively? Things like that. Because again, we're trying to build new habits. So they're putting the work in every single day. They might read the chapter in an hour, but then throughout the week, they're working all week to monitor and really start making these changes. And it feels weird at first, something fancy called cognitive dissonance, but it just feels weird at first because it's a new thing. It's like if you're right-handed and you start writing with your left hand, it's going to feel weird. Same thing. Then I meet with them once a week for about an hour. It could go longer, doesn't matter. But all I'm doing is just making sure that they're on track. checking for their understanding, really checking for their understanding. Not so much that I want to hear them repeat verbatim what they read, but I want to really know that they're getting this. And we do not move forward until I know that they get chapter 1, because if they don't, we're not going on to chapter 2. It just doesn't make any sense. So all
let's
I do is I
I'm
bring the
sorry, go ahead.
manual to life. I bring the manual to life and I customize it to their life.
Excellent. So my question, because we're going to have many listeners here, some part of the LGBT community, some heterosexual allies. We're going to have so many different viewers on this. I'm in a good place with my life.
Yep.
I've used a lot of courage to show courageous in my life.
Yep.
I was having mental issues when I was hating who I was until I was able to come and define myself for who I am. Nobody defines me, not you, not my partner, not religion. I define me. And that was a strength for me to realize I define me. And I was able to look in the mirror and decide I'm a beautiful gay man.
Yep.
And I went from hating who I was to loving who I was. And what was interesting to me, man, is my thinking opened up. I was able to see the reality of what religion has done, the reality of what society has done. And so I'm in a good place with my life right now. So who would be the clients that may have a need? Now, I know I ask you this is you do have members of the Thrive group that are lesbian and gay, and some of them are counselors. Is that correct?
That is right. Yes.
Has it helped them to be able to identify and use the courage to get through the fear they have? Has Thrive helped them to do that?
I would imagine so. The one person I'm thinking of right now, I know that she overcame a metaphobia, which is it's a lesser known phobia. It's the fear of vomiting, but we have helped, I think, over 25,000 people overcome it at this point. That's what she overcame when she came to the Thrive program, and she got so much out of it and loved it so much that she became a coach. I don't have regular contact with her. I'm being perfectly honest. But I'm sure that the program helped her, because at the end of the day, this is the whole reason it's called Thrive is because when you learn to thrive in life, that's when your symptoms from other things, whether it be if you feel ashamed or guilty or anything, let's say that you're gay and you haven't come out yet, if you feel any of those negative feelings, if you're thriving in life, if you do those 3 things that I talked about before, that stuff starts to fade away and it disappears. So what we are really teaching in the program is how to take back control of your life, start living it the way that you want to live it, and feeling amazing. And when you're doing that, that's when the phobias start to not matter and they dwindle down and they go away. Same thing with OCD or depression. You know what I mean? Because if you're feeling good, if you feel in control of your life, if you're not anxious in social situations, and if you have high self-esteem, you're not going to feel shame. You're not going to feel guilt. You're not going to have a phobia. You're not going to have OCD. You're going to feel freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm. And I want to emphasize those 3 things again. And the one who developed this program realized there were 3 things that would help people to thrive.
Yep.
Number 1, feel more control. Number 2, building high esteem for yourself.
Yep.
And high in social confidence. I think that's important too, social confidence. I think it really is the community. You need to have a community be able to help you get through whatever you're going through. So I really like those 3 points. So let me ask you this too. So I'm in a good place.
Yep.
Actually, I'm in a great place. I've had some real challenges this last year having open heart surgery, but I'm in a good place. I don't see myself as one of your clients.
Yep.
Am I selling myself short on that? Or because they're going to be people that are in a good place with who they are, they're confident. I feel I have more control of my life. I feel I have highest self-esteem. I feel I have high social confidence.
Yep.
Would I be a person for your program? Or does it appeal to those that are going through more mental stress than I'm going through?
So because we've had quite a few conversations at this point, I have a pretty good understanding of you as a person. I don't think you would need something like this. I think you're thriving. And really, and I don't want to give Dan a big head here, but basically what he did was he had the courage to somehow figure out everything that we teach in this program over the course of years and years and get himself thriving. That's exactly what he did. And what we try to do is teach people to not have to take years and years and have setbacks, things like that. We teach people to do it in weeks, but he did it. So I would say no, Dan, you would not be a good client because you're already thriving. But other people who, if you just feel like, a perfect example is somebody who's in therapy, and I'm going to talk like this because I've been in therapy. So it has, it's nice to sit down and talk to somebody and kind of get the thoughts out of your head, things like that. And one of the things that I don't like about it is that you don't know how long you're going to be in there. And it's sort of finding the right way to say this because I'm not talking badly about therapists, but we have a specific end date in this program, and that's really what drew me to it. So a lot of the people who come to us, they've tried everything. They feel helpless. They don't know what to do. So I have to let them know, hey, this is not therapy. You've tried it in the past, and we both know that didn't work. But what we're going to do is put in some real work over the next couple of weeks. We're going to make this fun and you're going to feel amazing. And I'm not going to say goodbye to you until you tell me I don't need you anymore. So
Do some of them then end up coming back?
every once in a while. Yep. That definitely does happen. And it's not that they forget what they were taught, because this is sort of like when you learn how to ride a bike, you're not going to forget it. It's just, it's going to be part of who you are. But what
Program.
might happen is that somebody gets in a new situation in their life. Let's say they're getting married or they're getting divorced, something like that. Every once in a while, somebody might say, I have this crazy thing going on in life. How do I apply all that thriving stuff that you taught me years ago? That's what I need. And it'll take one session and they're good. It doesn't happen often, but it definitely does happen. Yep.
Now, many times in our community, we have people that are struggling with depression,
Yep.
even to the point of suicide. I was one of those that did attempt to suicide in my life. Do you help people that are in that state, that are in a point of thinking about suicide, or at least the thought comes across their mind? Or would you refer them to a therapist?
So in that particular situation, what we would probably do is we would have them talk to their doctor, their GP, and first of all, see what the doctor says. And more often than not, it probably makes sense for them to get on, let's say, medication, just so that they can kind of even out, be sort of brought back to neutral. And then at that point, we may work with them, but it's not like an emergency, hey, help me, you need to fix me in 2 minutes. That would just be unethical for us. But so there are a couple of kinds of situations where we wouldn't take somebody on. That is one of them, but we wouldn't just say, hey, can't help you, whatever. We would say, talk to your GP, maybe get on some SSRIs or whatever it may be. And then when you're feeling up to it, because again, this is all about putting in work. You have to be able to sit down and really be able to read this manual and work with a coach. When you're feeling up to it at that point, that's when we can work together.
Excellent. I appreciate that as well. Well, you've been very helpful, Matt, in being able for me to understand this program. Um, I want to, I believe this was founded in the UK, correct? Isn't that where it came?
Yep, that's right.
How many, would you guess how many patients you had? Um, First of all, how long have you been Thrive? And when did it start? And how many patients have you had over that period of time?
So
Estimate is good.
so Thrive started, I think it was 15 years ago. And um we've helped over 60,000 people at this point, and it's not nearly enough. So a lot of the reason that, I do this is because I'm one of two coaches in the United States, and not a lot of people know that this is out there. It's more well known in the UK, and just the fact that there are people struggling way worse than I was. I need to make this known and available to them. So it's been around for quite some time. But we have aggressive growth goals, and I think right now, the last I heard, we're training 30 other coaches. So we're doing everything that we possibly can to help people.
So what are the results that you get personally from being a Thrive coach? How do you benefit personally?
Oh,
Does it make you feel controlled? Does it give you high self-esteem? And does it give you high social confidence by doing what you do?
so what this does for me personally is I finally feel like I'm doing like what my life's purpose is. As cliche as that may sound, I have a sales background. I was in sales for 18 years. No kid is 10 years old, and when you ask them what do you want to do with your life, no kid says, oh, I want to be a salesperson. So that was fine, that was good, but I was like, there's got to be more to life than this. And I could feel it click when I went through the program, and I felt amazing that the thing I needed to do was get this in front of people. So for me as a coach, it's hearing the small wins from people, the little things, because the little things add up when they're starting to feel amazing and starting to feel, oh wait, I can change things. Okay, hang on. Wait, so maybe, all right, yeah, wow, I feel good right now. Those little things. And those little things stack and stack and stack. And then people start feeling amazing. And it's all about changing people's lives, because there are people out there who can't even get out of bed because they're so depressed, and they don't realize that there's something out there that can help them. And I'm doing everything I can to get this in front of people to help them. So it feels good for me. That's
Would you say
answer.
this is this your passion?
Yes, it is 100% my passion. This is the type of thing. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was saying that he found his passion, and I said, I found mine too, and I had heard this a while ago, and I said, I can't even imagine that. But you find something that when you're doing it, you lose track of time. It's not a chore. It's fun. That's when you find your passion. And I'll find myself on the couch watching Netflix at like 9, 10 at night, still doing work, but I'm doing the work because I enjoy it. I love it. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't want to be doing it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely a passion.
I understand that. So, Matt, tell us how our audience can get in contact with you and get in contact if they would like to call you or email you,
Yep.
text you, if they have interest in this program, and how they would make contact with you.
So I do offer free Zoom discovery calls where I can tell you even more detail of what this entails, and really what your life could be like at the end of 6 to 8 weeks. Probably the best way to get in touch with me would be to just follow me on Instagram. My profile is Thrive period with period Matt. That's it. The periods are important. So Thrive with Matt. Um, in there. You can DM me, you can set up a time to talk. And I'd be happy to, set some time aside with you.
Can they text you? Do you have a text number they could call?
They could do that. They're not, yeah.
I mean, text and email. I was thinking, not a text, an email.
An email would be fine. It is my first name, so MATT dot CHRISTOFARO at thriveprogram.org. But you need to realize it's spelled like the UK people spell it. PROGRAMME.org.
Excellent. Very good. So they can contact you through Instagram. What about on Facebook?
I don't have Facebook. I don't have
Instagram. Okay.
Yes.
And you gave them the information on Instagram. You gave them an email if they'd like to talk with you.
Yep.
I want to thank you for spending the time with me and giving the audience another option they can do for mental health.
Of course.
Because I think mental health is the most important thing that we have. And I really thank you for being there. And if anyone would like to contact him, we give him the information to be able to do that. So I think it took a lot of courage for you to do what you did to come through your depression and anxiety. And I want to compliment you on that. That's a great, a great thing that you've done as well. So Matt, thank you so much for the program. I thank you so much for sharing your story and the Thrive program. And I want to tell you that you've been a great guest and I appreciate you having me on my show.
Thank you, Dan. This has been fantastic.
Take care now.
All right. Bye.
Bye.